this area is a glacial dump of sand and rock from when the glaciers were moving down the Passaic River. So that's why we have a lot of sand, a lot of rock, and when you were excavating to build a house, you'd find, but you know, then,
Still fine.
Yes.
yeah, but then there were a lot of trees. So that's why carpenters could take wood and model it into ornamental features that were then used, like,
The points and the.
yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank
So
you.
that's why Carpenter Gothic, that's the epiphany. Now, I'm going to go through these images, and I want you to stop me if you have questions. There's a lot to say about them. I would love to, I could be here all week telling you about everything. So, but we're going to go through them quickly. Please do stop me, but the reason why I'm showing these to you is to show you the atmosphere and the public. And what's remarkable in these images is that you're going to see the everyday life from about 100 years ago and 150 years ago that looks very much like today almost. I mean, in a lot of places the community has left, but instead the community here is more or less still present. And what's extremely interesting is that because of the public, the people, what they've done, and very, very interesting features about our community, that's why the Carnegies decided that Caldwell was a worthy recipient of one of their libraries, and that's what we have.
This picture might have been taken from in front of this library.
Yes.
Right.
Frank, is that Stephanie's restaurant right there?
I think so, or I think they call it the Fat Fish Taco. Yeah. But we're just going to go through here we have the train station. You see the Mount St. Dominic's behind that, and it looks so sort of stark. But look at how Bloomfield Avenue looks so rural, with trees, and you know they just disappeared because that was a very big business. Here you see horses and buggies. This is the trolley terminal. This is a trolley. I love these. Now the first person, the small Corbières owned the trolley service, and the trolley was first driven by Mrs. Corbière, who was a small. Isn't that true?
That's right, because her husband was the president of the trolley company,
Yes.
James Corbière.
James Corbière. So, this clearly shows that it was, I thought Bloomfield Avenue was a turnpike, so it had to be paved, but I guess that was closer to Newark. So here we're like totally in the country. This is right before this library is being built. There was a lot of pageantry, there was a lot of pride that we had a president that was from Caldwell. Yeah.
If you know where it is.
Yeah, we know.
The police told the mayor that the statute of limitation has run out, so no, there's not gonna be any problem if you turn it in.
So, this is looking down Roseland Avenue, and then you have Westlawn, right, that's where the bank is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and here we have St. Aloysius and the rectory,
The first one.
but it was across the street, I guess, where Calandra's entry is. The gas station, yeah. And Mount St. Dominic, the First Baptist Church that was very pretty before now. And then the green area, there's a beautiful villa that you'll see, and then there's the Grover Cleveland house. I'm just going to identify sort of these spaces to you that you can see. Yeah. What's amazing is, look at the expressions on most of the people. They just look like they could be today. Yeah. This is an amazing building. We're so lucky to have it because it's basically the same way it is. The Lockwood house was on either the right or the left of Grover Cleveland's house.
I think on the left is
Yeah. So these are very fancy houses. Today they would be considered like the first percent. And we did have a lot of very fancy houses here in town, especially, the Cedars were just 3 estates. And a lot of people don't know that the Leacrafts was one of the villas, beautiful estate properties, but Mrs. Leacraft was a Roosevelt. So, yeah. We're gonna have so many different presentations, and I hope you'll all come, but this basically it's a primer. This is basically here behind us, it's the oval. I like this, I'm very fond of Richard Leonard, and that's his ancestor at the,
The theater.
yeah,
Of course, he was running someplace.
the Caldwell Pharmacy before it burned down. This is while it's burning down, or just right after that. This is the firehouse. Yeah, before, when you saw that fire, there wasn't this firehouse yet. And there were volunteer firemen, and then they got this building. So this is a very busy commercial building for funeral, telephone calls, and plumbing.
It's Frederick Cook, is the undertaker, whose father was an undertaker in Morris County, and then he came here, and then it became Dancy's, and now it's Nicolito Dancy.
Ah, so see that?
So it's that place.
Yeah, we're so
And
lucky.
in the middle is the telephone exchange, which is now on Forest Avenue, and on the right, that's Gene Straub's father, Straub and Young Plumbing.
Oh, wow.
This picture was brought to us from Mary Ann Straub.
And we have the privilege to still be living.
But isn't that Bloomfield Avenue that's running
Yes.
that?
Yes.
So that would be where the American Legion is, then where Cook's
Well, Cook's
funeral
family
house?
became the American Legion, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Please identify, and if you know who the people are, speak up, please.
Dick Gibbs, you bought this picture, where is it? Because I heard you know.
Postcard view of the Caldwell Bakery, which I think is about where Hassler's was, just up from Food Town. In the previous photograph on this sheet, or this, if we could back up form, this is from the, I think, 1913 Caldwell Trade booklet. The building all the way on the right is the Caldwell Bakery. Brookside Avenue is to the left of the taller building next to the bakery.
That building is still there.
Oh,
At
yeah.
Brookside.
I mean, we're so lucky to have things still in
I
town.
knew he knew.
Yeah. Not only the building's intact, but the public as well.
On the back of that postcard is May Conklin, I think is that young lady's name, taken when she was 15 years old.
Wow.
So that's what that is.
I love this photograph as well. Because, you see this dirt road and the sidewalks are just these pieces laid on the dirt. A Memorial Day parade. There was an atmosphere of patriotism and pageantry because of the president,
We have been unable to figure out the relationship between William H. Pollard and Gene
Gene
Pollard.
Pollard, right?
And I've been looking, I haven't found it yet, but it'll be there, we'll find it. Spelled differently. Yeah, but the names are always spelled differently, and you just can't take that seriously.
Washburn. Now, the Methodist Church,
Oh, okay.
to me, looks like in Ocean Grove, there's the auditorium. And what's interesting to note is that the architect of the auditorium in Ocean Grove is Frederick Camp from Bloomfield. And he did some really beautiful houses in Bloomfield with this very sort of illuministic, it's almost like an illuminist style in wood. And I think he's very good as an architect. here's, this is where Caldwell gas is, you know, there's a gas station
Right.
there.
All the trees.
Yeah, and
Let's go.
this was going up to the Monadnock Inn, and I just said it correctly, which is amazing. I love this. So at the trolley terminal, basically that's more or less where that modernist bank is, or sort of across the street from that on Central Avenue. This is the Monadnock Inn. Did I?
Twice now, it's-
Wow. Thank you,
Beautiful.
everybody. This was a fine, you know, 5-star world-class hotel that people would come from all over, and basically this is Bloomfield Avenue, and actually no, that's behind, that's Academy Place, and then on the other side is Bloomfield Avenue, and all of these windows and balconies were looking at the sunset to the, you know, the Passaic River Valley, and you could, I'm sure you could see the Delaware Water Gap.
Well, the building on the right, that's the Fife House, the owner.
Yeah, the Fife
of
House.
the Monadnock
Right,
Inn.
and that's still there today,
It's now apartments.
yeah.
East Hardwick.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
huge,
East
it was
Hardwick.
amazing. Then the next bigger hotel was on the mountain where the Rockcliffe Apartments are in Montclair. That was called Hotel Montclair, and it was this amazing Mediterranean style stucco hotel, and famous movie stars used to stay there, and this is all still while Montclair was transforming itself into a suburban town, thanks to the train line. This is a tobacco factory, and is it where the car wash and Ace,
No.
7-Eleven.
oh, 7-Eleven, I'm sorry, yeah.
Sunnyside Gardens.
Yeah. I wanted, these are, I wanted you to see the houses while they're being built, because they're wood, you know, local wood and local stone. The stone that comes from the site, and look how green everything is, and look how bare Bloomfield Avenue is.
Nice sidewalk.
Yeah, these photographs are only going up to when this library is built, till about 1900 or 1913, 1915. But I wanted to give you a sense of the atmosphere of Caldwell when the library was being built. And, right, and what was impressive to the Carnegies.
It's a steamroller.
Looking at work.
Steamroller.
What's that?
The sign says steamroller.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Oh, steamroller work.
amazing. And this is very curious. This is, Bev says that she's heard that it was used to wash the train tracks or
Trolley
something.
tracks.
Yeah.
Because it's a trolley vehicle, it's got that electrical
Mm.
function.
I love this.
What is the horse?
What is he wearing? Yeah.
It's for flies.
Oh.
To keep, it's like fly swatter for the horse.
Okay.
To keep the flies off while he was,
They should use that stick.
Yeah.
yeah, isn't that
There's all the
amazing?
food, I guess, around.
Yeah.
I've actually seen they use those around the world
Yeah.
still. for-
Now, what I love
It's
about these
suburban.
photographs is you see all different types of people from the community, and a lot of them are very different. You have farmers, you have ladies and gentlemen who are probably here because this was also a resort for like churches. They had celebrity ministers. Parsonage Hill, you're going to see this in a minute, is basically, it starts out with smaller houses like farmhouses, but and that's in the 1860s and 70s and 80s. And then as you get towards the 1900, there are these big, you know, sort of vacation villas. And one of them that we went to see a house on Arlington, and the gentleman said, "What was my house? It's strange because it's like a ranch house, and then it slopes off in the back, and there's 2 or 3 stories of stone arches like the Baths of Caracalla." That was obviously a winery. You know, there were, you know, people coming out just for weekends, and, you know, there were local people to take care of their chickens, and, you know, and there were a lot of apple trees, so people could make apple cider and they could make wine. I think these are lovely. And what's remarkable about these photographs is that, I mean, we have more houses today and less trees, but basically,
And where are these?
these are all off of Bloomfield Avenue. They're around Caldwell. They're just,
Oh, they're just random.
And we're hoping that some of you will say, oh, that's my Aunt Nellie's house.
yes.
See, these are all from glass negatives that are owned by the Historical Society of West Caldwell. They've all been digitized, and then we're using the digital images, but we haven't identified everything. We've identified some things, and so if anybody has any ideas, we'd like to know more.
Yes, this is an ongoing project that we'd like to do together with the community, because there's so many beautiful images. We're so excited about them, but we really haven't identified them. So, we're here at the library, we're gonna be doing this, and, with the Historic Preservation Commission, we're doing a lot of reports. Here we have Parsonage Hill, and this is from the Department of Environmental Protection catalog. It's a survey of our historic resources, and it talks about the subdivision, if you can read that. And then, there was resort sort of dimension and farms, and a lot of the houses, as I said, the later houses of, towards 1900 in Parsonage Hill are just weekend getaway villas, very impressive ones. The earlier ones look like farmhouses. A lot of these houses are still here today. That's why they're in the survey, because they're important historic resources. The Department of Environmental Protection considers these our historic resources.
These pictures were taken in 1986.
Yes. Yeah, so this survey, you have the significance of the features of the architecture under them. Now, the earlier ones look like farmhouses, because that was sort of like our vernacular. But then as you sort of, 10 years later, they're these big shingle-style villas. But basically, people didn't live there. They had different addresses. They had addresses in New York City and in Newark. And in fact, it's very interesting, because there's an Italian family, somebody who was born in Italy in 1835, and who was a very prominent merchant in New York City, and he built a beautiful villa on Arlington Avenue. And then his first wife was, I believe, the second wife was related to patriots from the 1600s, and she was in the DAR. So there were very fancy households here. Here you have some more. So I'm just basically, I'm sorry, did you have something you would like to ask?
Yes. The next one. Is that the Cedars? No, that's not, okay.
It's
Oh, it says
46
it right there,
Arlington.
excuse me.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
And just underscoring what you said about where people live, the Fife House, which was built by James Fife, he actually was a coffee and spice dealer in Manhattan. He lived in Smithtown in Suffolk County on Long Island. He built the house here because he liked the area, it was so healthy. And he built the first 50 rooms of the Menominee Inn as a place to entertain his friends. And then he added another 50 rooms.
All over this area, Mountain Avenue had a lot of, there's something called a gentleman's farm. Applegate Farms in Montclair is a survivor as a gentleman's farm. Where on Grove Street, you have entrance to the farm area, and you have the farmer, and the farm hands and their buildings, the cows and all that. But then up on Park Street, on the same property, is a villa. You'll see it today. It has a red fence and red gate in front of it. And that was the manor house where the family would come from New York for the weekend. And the photographs of them are amazing, because they're in tuxedos playing violins, and then right behind them they have the cows grazing. But you would do that, and there's another house on Mountain Avenue. If you go down towards Route 23 at the end of Mountain Avenue, there's that curve with like that
Yes.
house. Yeah, that's another gentleman's farm, and the Stanton Company was selling it in I think 1910, and they they were advertising it as a gentleman's farm, so it had the barn, you could have your chickens, you could have your horses.
Any truth to the rumor that it was a speakeasy during Prohibition?
That's what I hear, yes. So,
Is
anyway,
Mead's house? Beverly,
Pardon?
is that Mead's?
I don't know
This
what's
is-
in it now.
I just,
It's white, glass windows.
so I'm,
Left side
Wood
is
hole on
white.
that?
Yeah.
I'd just like to go through, I don't think we have much more time, but I want to give you a sense of the atmosphere of the everyday life of the community, and this is the public from, sort of like late 1800s and 1900, and this is why, this was the public that the public library was serving. So it's very interesting to see. And this will be a great project that we can all do together to identify these people.
From the glass slides, so they're very clear.
Yeah, these images can really be enlarged.
It's amazing how they give you a sense of that day for those people. I love this gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's probably a crane and probably owns, 70 acres of property. Isn't that adorable?
She needed a library.
There's a woman that I fall in love with her because she's just so happy all the time. And usually when you're looking at old photographs, they're a little bit somber.
Yeah.
They can be very somber and gloomy. But instead, these are amazing. And people would come to the Cedars actually because the churches here had celebrity ministers that would come for the season. And, the Love family from Montclair who founded the Methodist Church and Union Baptist Church, they also founded the American Academy in Beirut, and they also had founded an African-American summer camp where the Overbrook was. So this area was all full of people coming out for their vacation. Essex Fells.
This is your picture.
Oh,
I love this. Look at
it's
the.
great.
Oh, and it's still.
Oh,
Boy, it's
still.
still-
I
Is that
just
an
want to know if
outhouse
she's
back
run
there?
into the outhouse.
Right, yeah.
Well, she has I think she's running after him. She's gonna clobber him with the shovel.
Oh.
But these are so sweet. They're just like everyone today, I think. They don't look it could be the quality of the images or something, but they just look so, here we have some
Oh, man, that's
DAR
lovely.
ladies.
Formidable, huh?
Yeah, and that's in a very interesting hat. I love this.
Oh,
This could be today.
Absolutely, yeah.
Isn't that amazing? But please try to figure out, please do tell people about our presentations here that we're gonna do once a month, because we really wanna identify who these people are. Now, you see how there's no trees? We started out with all those trees in the earlier photographs, and then as Bev said in hers, the trees were removed, the wood was sold for building materials, and then the arable land was sold to farmers. Oh, and then another thing I heard is in the winter, a lot of local farmers, instead of, cultivating their produce, the farm workers built houses on the farm properties that were then sold in speculation, because there was a trend. I love her because she's always in a good mood. There she is again.
She really laughed.
We have to fix that a little, it's kind of scary.
oh,
I love it.
oh.
You had all different people. You had very modest farm people. You had people who were wealthy. This man is in a good mood. He must be related to that lady.
Hard cider.
So, and then contemporary to the building of this library, the Olmsted brothers, the sons of Frederick Law Olmsted, who designed Central Park in New York, did the project for Grover Cleveland Park. And that's another very amazing feature that we have here. And I think I've said this a million times in other presentations that you've maybe been to. Olmsted's vision was to preserve the beauty of the raw American wilderness. And that's what his design impetus was. And he loved this area. He was very much in love with the Hudson River Valley School of Painting. George Innes, who was one of the heads of that school, lived in Montclair. His house became the property of Mountainside Hospital. And the idea for Central Park in New York was to take one of Innes's paintings and just place it in the center of New York City to preserve what American wilderness looked like and the beauty of American wilderness. And that's what they did with our park here. You know, there was a windmill. There were mills. My property a little down the road from that on the brook was the site of a mill. There was a paper mill. The foundations are still behind my house in the Trotters Woods. So Olmsted's vision was to make everything look natural and raw. So he removed, unfortunately, the windmill. But here we have an image of the windmill, and there's the brook, there's the path, and this is in the Essex Fells School. It's, I think, it's probably by Reginald Marsh or his father or his brother, because was it his brother or his father that did tile work for New York subways?
His father, Frederick Dana.
So Frederick Dana Marsh did tile landscapes for the New York City subway system.
Well, he did it for the McAlpin Hotel. There was the Maritime History of New York, and there were 6 panels very similar to that. When they converted the McAlpin Hotel into condominiums, the transport system saved them, preserved them, and then put them together again, and you can see them down at the Fulton Nassau subway station in New York. They're on the walls there, and they're beautiful. They show the old Dutch ships in the harbor, in New York Harbor and such, but they're very much like that.
I'm so glad you found that. You know, because that's another reason we're so lucky that we have this kind of creativity and expression of art, you know, that preserves the beauty. I don't want to go too much longer because I think, you know, we've done enough, but as I mentioned before, because of all of this, this is why the Carnegies were so enthusiastic and designated Caldwell as a place where a Carnegie Library should be built. So thank you very much.
I thought I would bring this tonight because I don't think any of you have seen this before. This was attached to the Baldwin House on Mountain Avenue. And my Uncle Dean Baldwin said that he talked the owner into allowing him to remove it and to take it home with him to keep. Maybe that happened that way, maybe it didn't. All I know is that this was always hanging on the mantle, or from the mantle above the fireplace. And it was clearly not a house event. There's nothing about the Baldwin House that has a particular interesting thing that happened in 1798. And I figured, well, maybe it was a family thing. Well, I've done enough genealogy. I haven't found anything with that clan that bears on 1798, but there is one thing that has to do with 1798. That's when Caldwell Township was created by the New Jersey legislature.
Yeah.
And those Baldwins at the time, it was Noah Oscar Baldwin and his father, that Baldwin clan, they knew James Caldwell. They knew him as a person. They were from that era. So my latest theory is that maybe they were commemorating the founding of the town. So I put this out on the internet a few times, and I was told that I should have the wood analyzed to have the age and the wood. Oh, I haven't done that. I don't have the money to do that off the top of my head. But at any rate, I thought it was kind of a neat thing, and I think I would just like to create the memory that this does exist. If it doesn't have anything to do with my family, then it probably shouldn't be in the possession of my family. But until I have a better story or more information,
Well,
and
they've been
anyway,
excellent caretakers of that.
well, I've been trying, you know, and I mean, the back of it, you can see the wood, the metal comes through the wood, it's attached. So, I don't know, but there it is.
Well, thank you very much. Now, the next talk that we're doing is in a month.
Yes.
Please do come and tell your friends. And this is an ongoing project that we all want to work on together.
Yes, thank you both very much. I'm sorry I did not introduce Bev. I didn't realize that you and Frank would collaborate.
It's okay.
But the next,
They will know me anyway.
they all know you. So thank you everybody for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I loved it. Every time I talk with both of these, I'm just, it's like a whirlwind. I'm like, how do you know so much?
We go to the library a lot.
So if you can, our next lecture is going to be held on February 9th. We're planning them for the second Thursday of every month, so if you want to put that in your calendar. So February 9th at 6:30, and it will be on the history of emancipated slaves in Caldwell. Okay,
It will
so,
not be as long as this because we don't know enough yet.
so if you'd like, you can register at the front desk or give us a call at some point during the month. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see